Welcome back to MPWF Sunday Night Metal, and this is the final part and the final preview matchup before MPWF Royal Rumble 2010. And making his way to the ring, ladies and gentlemen, is the very opportunistic, the very deadly Tendanciz. The Tendanciz has not had the greatest start here on SmackDown vs. Raw 2011. Losing the YouTube Championship matchup to Lethal Mathematics, Tendanciz has been on a rocky road back to the top since then. We've seen Tendanciz boast and complain and boast and complain, and Tendanciz vows that tonight he is going to win the 30-man Royal Rumble. But before he heads to the 30-man Royal Rumble matchup, he must take on Lemar Jackson in one-on-one competition here tonight on Metal. There are many fans of Tendanciz around the globe, but this crowd here in Washington, D.C. is not giving Tendanciz any respect whatsoever. And quite frankly, Tendanciz doesn't think he needs any respect from anyone. Tendanciz said he's in this for himself, and he's going to headline WrestleMania like he did last year and be in the main event and become the MPWF Undisputed Champion. And a huge ovation for Compton's own Lemar Jackson making his way to the ring here tonight to take on Tendanciz in singles competition. Lemar Jackson looks great since returning from his knee injury he suffered at the hands of Lethal Mathematics. Lemar Jackson says that tonight is the night that he brings victory back to Compton, back to the hood where he's from. He's been training with the Minnesota State wrestling team, where we've seen his skills improve drastically here in the MPWF. Can Lemar Jackson use his skill to win this matchup against Tendanciz tonight? Lemar Jackson will not have the opportunity to use his technical wrestling ability in the Royal Rumble matchup. He's going to have to use his pure athleticism if he expects to stay in the ring. I mean, both men having this matchup tonight, and this is what you got to think. What you got to think about here is how tough the MPWF superstars are. I mean, these two men competing in a preview matchup here tonight in the main event of Sunday Night Metal, and they still have to focus on later on tonight. They will be competing in the 30-man Royal Rumble matchup, and the hugest opportunity of life is on the line. The opportunity to headline WrestleMania and challenge for the Undisputed Championship. And you can see Tendanciz is taking this seriously. He's now beating away on Lemar Jackson with punches and kicks. And another kick to the gut of Lemar. And Lemar hanging on the ropes. Now Tendanciz got him in for a guillotine into the bottom rope, and Tendanciz connects. Tendanciz likes to use that bottom rope to his advantage. In fact, Tendanciz likes to use the entire ring to his advantage, and that's why we call Tendanciz extremely opportunistic. Tendanciz sending Lemar Jackson to the outside of the ring, but Jackson hanging on, and Tendanciz with a drop kick to Jackson. If that happens later on this evening, Lemar Jackson will be eliminated from the Royal Rumble, and Tendanciz can continue his day. And now Lemar Jackson trying to throw Tendanciz to the steps, but now goes for a suplex on the outside of the ring, and Tendanciz head bouncing off the safety mat. And although that is a safety mat, it is thinly padded, and it still hurts like hell to be slammed on that mat. And now Jackson sending Tendanciz back inside the ring and choking on him in the apron. And this crowd here not even booing Lemar Jackson for that. Jackson sliding back inside the ring now, and Jackson going for a gut wrench roll. You can see him squeezing at the gut there of Tendanciz. Learned that from the Minnesota State wrestling team. And now Jackson picking Tendanciz back up. Now, ladies and gentlemen, just a brief recap on what happened on SmackDown to Ricky Cash. If you were wondering, on SmackDown, Ricky Cash did suffer a neck injury during the No. 1 contendership matchup for the tag team titles, and Tendanciz has a replacement, the Avenger. We haven't seen him in the MPWF before, but he is formerly known as Prototype from the WWF, the World Wrestling Future, will be taking Ricky Cash's place, and apparently the Avenger is part of Cash Money Incorporated, so we'll see more of the Avenger later on this evening, and that's a huge opportunity for the Avenger debuting in the Royal Rumble. And now Tendanciz with a kick to the gut of Jackson. Now Irish whip sending Jackson into the turnbuckle. And now Tendanciz heading to the top rope. Now got Jackson that inverted DDT position, an inverted DDT off the top rope. Huge impact there by Tendanciz. Now going for a cover. Here we go. Two, and Jackson's not kicking out, and never mind, he does. Jackson gets the shoulder up from that inverted DDT from the second rope. Now Tendanciz bouncing off the rope again, and a big-time clothesline taking down the big man Jackson. Tendanciz with his foot on the rope, and look at the strength of Jackson just throwing Tendanciz off. But Tendanciz with a reversal and an inverted drop, driving the neck and the head to the mat of Lemar Jackson. And now Tendanciz watching Jackson here, now going with a waistlock. And I'm not sure what just happened there, but nonetheless, Tendanciz now trying to choke Lemar Jackson out with a full Nelson. And if you're not familiar with a full Nelson, it's also known as a master lock. And he's trying to wear down Jackson here, trying to break the neck, as we've seen Hardcore Holly used this move pretty effectively against Brock Lesnar and Big Show back in 2004. And oh, what a huge knee lift there by Lemar James Jackson, taking out Tendanciz. And now slapping Tendanciz in the face, another knee lift. And every time we see Lemar James Jackson use that knee lift, you can see the momentum picking up. And now Jackson, Irish whip now, sending Tendanciz into the rope. And now Tendanciz being core here. What a beautiful T-bone suplex there by Jackson. So this Minnesota State wrestling team has helped Lemar James Jackson so much. Right now, here he goes for the running power slam takedown. Shades of the British Bulldog there. And now Lemar James Jackson needs to continue capitalizing on Tendanciz whilst he has him down. And Jackson off the top rope there with a splash. Innovative move there by Lemar James Jackson. And now Jackson dragging Tendanciz away from the rope to go for a cover here. But there is still fight left, and Tendanciz is there, and yes, Tendanciz kicks out. Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget, Tendanciz is a former MPWF champion, a former internet champion. Tendanciz has been to the top before. Like we said, he headlined WrestleMania last year against Jason Rage, and they had one epic matchup in the main event, which Jason Rage did defeat Tendanciz in, but nonetheless, Tendanciz knows what it's like, and what a reversal there by Tendanciz. Tendanciz understands the importance of being in the main event of WrestleMania. Tendanciz wants to experience that again, and a spear off the top rope, and that could be it. Hitting Lemar James Jackson directly in the gut. Tendanciz is going to win this matchup, and no! Kick out there by Lemar James Jackson. And now Tendanciz with a kick back to the gut of Jackson, now running into the ropes once more. And now Jackson catching him with a waistlock. And now Lemar James Jackson there with a mat slam. And now Tendanciz in trouble. Now Tendanciz needs to try back and fight back like he was before. Jackson throwing Tendanciz into the rope, and now look at the strength of Jackson here as he just drives his massive shoulders into the gut of Tendanciz, and Tendanciz now fighting back out. And Tendanciz now missing there, and what a German suplex there by Lemar James Jackson. 100% beautiful there by Jackson. And now Jackson with a stunner out of nowhere. Jacking the jaw of Tendanciz, and now Jackson picking him up. And ladies and gentlemen, Tendanciz in trouble, and here comes the scissor kick. And Lemar James Jackson calls that move something else, but it's too rude to say in the MPWF because it involves using the N-word. But nonetheless, if you watch unrated MPWF, you'd hear it. And Lemar James Jackson pins Tendanciz. Well, all I gotta say about that was one hell of a contest, and here's the replays showing the action you just got to see here in the main event of Sunday Night Metal. Lemar James Jackson with a huge power slam, and then look at this stunner here, jacking the jaw of Tendanciz. And here comes the scissor kick. LJ squared, driving Tendanciz face to the mat. And Lemar James Jackson picking up huge momentum heading into the Royal Rumble later on this evening. So Lemar James Jackson at the end of SmackDown was the one standing tall over his fellow combatants in the Royal Rumble. And now tonight, at the pre-show of the Royal Rumble, he stands tall. And Jackson wanted to celebrate by himself. Lemar James Jackson's pumped. Jackson believes that he's going to win the Royal Rumble. And so do many of his fans and many of the MPWF fan base. Can Jackson win the Royal Rumble? Maybe Tendanciz will seek retribution and win the Royal Rumble. Or perhaps Joe Eagle or Craig David, or maybe even Jason Rage or Helios Christ. Or what about Lethal Mathematics and Systematic Carnage? Ladies and gentlemen, anyone could win the Royal Rumble. Stay tuned for MPWF, because ladies and gentlemen, thank you for the moment, but make sure you watch 2010 Royal Rumble. And when I hit the shot, people say